about pain because it's definitely something that I have used my oils for. I've had a lot of experience. So having an oily underground all about pain and inflammation is huge. So I am going to lay a foundation for us. Even if this stuff you already know, that's awesome. Hopefully you can pass along the notes to someone else. Because again, what you share with people will be from you and not from a recording, but really excited just to go over kind of the basics of what it means to be in pain, how pain works, and then what an inflammatory response looks like. I really have seen a lot, even like in our leader chat thread, we'll talk about pain. And if you've never had that experience, there's not a reference to it. There's not like a past experience to lean on. You might not have it with a family member, and you might not think you need this information. So that's why I wanted to kind of give a basic overview. And then, yes, I saw I saw Tracy just type in the chat to let us know what your questions are, specifically if they are specific issues. Overall things we'll talk about a little bit, but really needs to be a specific issue. And I will be using information from resources that I have at my fingertips that you're able to have too. And we'll make sure we pop those in the comments so that you can know what to get, where to get them, and how. So in general, inflammation, which can cause pain for most people, is the body's response system that's a defense mechanism and plays a role in the healing process. So when we get inflammation, it's the response to something that has offended the body, right? And the body is playing defense against it. And it also plays a role in healing because it helps with the flushing and the providing of nutrients to and from organ systems, and specifically different types of blood cells. So when our bodies detect an intruder, it launches a biological response to remove the intruder. The attacker could be a foreign body, like a thorn, a tick, or a pathogen. So that would really be more of a tick, but that would be a bacteria, virus, or other organism. So anything that could cause infection. So maybe a cut, a scrape, or a tick, or a virus, which we're all really familiar with right now, can cause an inflammatory response. So the body, a lot of times, even if you're not necessarily someone who's on here going, I have an autoimmune disease, because that's not specifically what I'm saying right here. It's that the body will mistake its own cells or tissues as harmful because they're now tainted with the invader, with the intruder in the body. So what this can lead to is a reaction in the body that happens once, and the body likes the response. Sounds really weird, but the body's like, yes, get rid of the intruder and invader. Let's keep it going, guys, because we got all the intruders and invaders. And that's when you get an autoimmune inflammatory response. It's actually not usually, unless you're an infant or a brand new, literally like a day old baby. It's not usually the first time the body has an inflammatory response that you develop an autoimmune condition. It's more over and over. And Tracy will talk about that more, I'm sure, but I wanted to make that clear because I think a lot of people on here are like, I don't have an inflammatory issue. I'm not in pain. Well, what's the deal? Well, here's the deal. You have no idea when you could trigger this response in your body for it to be a normal response for your body to get out an intruder, or if it's a response that's going to cause issues long-term down the road that you want to deal with up front. So a lot of times experts in general believe inflammation can contribute to a wide variety of chronic diseases, including metabolic syndrome, which is like heart disease, obesity, diabetes, all in that family, which we'd say are things that most of us would classify as bad, right? Not things we want in our body. And then there's also really high levels of inflammatory markers. And inflammatory markers in your body just mean that something's not right, and that there either was an infection, is an infection, or there will be an infection soon. And that infection could be a life-threatening one or one that you live with every day, and we don't know. So now that I've kind of said that fun basis, I feel like this, again, is just really basic information that a lot of you guys might want to know, but I do want to tell you again now how pain works in the body. I have this on a separate Google Doc that I want to make sure I hit notes on for you guys. So how pain works in the body and the brain, also really interesting because this has a lot to do with the way our brain connects to different tissues and cells and even organs in our body. So a lot of times there's types of pain. There's acute pain that's sharp and sudden, and it comes from a specific and immediate cause, and it's actually protective. So today my kid got a giant hydro flask dropped on his foot before he got in the pool at swim practice. That was acute pain. And his body was signaling that something was wrong so that his mom or someone who was around would go and check his foot out. Like, was it broken? Was it bruised? What was wrong? So it signaled to his body. So he cried, and then it gave a signal to the caregiver to go and check it out. That could be bumps, cuts, even a surgery, a broken bone, acute pain. Chronic pain is an aching sensation that lasts much longer than acute pain. And in most cases, chronic pain is not known where it originated. The person cannot say on, October 3rd, this started. They usually don't know. And a lot of times it's because they continue doing the types of lifestyle or exercise or activity or whatever it is that damages the tissue that actually was signaling there was pain in the first place. Chronic pain has no benefit. So I want to hear me clearly. There's not actually a benefit at all to chronic pain. So acute pain, there is a benefit. The body is signaling it needs attention. A chronic pain, there's like no benefit at all. So if you know anybody in chronic pain, they probably are so used to it. Not only do they know it's bad and not giving them a benefit to their body, but like it hurts so often that it doesn't really matter because it's how they're living. And that's important to point out. So the next kind of pain, well, actually, before I say that, usually nerve pain is in the chronic pain category. Migraines, chronic pain, anything in the wide variety, wide umbrella of fibromyalgia, whatever that means for you and how you interpret it, is an example that would be part of these just chronic pain points that people cannot always say exactly where they came from. And the last one is emotional pain. So this ranges from social discomfort to stress to grief to anxiety to depression. These can either be diagnosed or undiagnosed, perceived, or something that's being lived out by others in that community or in that family. And some of us experience emotional pain that causes discomfort in our physical beings. And this, a lot of times, is not known by the person feeling it, but the emotional pain, physical pain connection is really, really strong and it happens on its own. A lot of times, the signal to our brain for emotional trauma and pain comes across basically as danger, danger, help me to another part of our body. And I'm not going to go too much into that tonight, but I will say for me, I am a big fan of all kinds of emotional release. A lot of us have probably done them. All kinds of fun. They're modalities that we've learned through Young Living and otherwise, and even through the concept of physical touch. We've even gotten a massage without oils, and there's been a certain part of your body that you are a little bit uncomfortable or it hurts more and you can't figure out where it's from. If you've ever heard, even if it's not, again, something that you meant to hear, maybe that person's asked you what's going on in your life. Well, I wonder why you have so much stress in this right side on your shoulder. And that is, aroma freedom technique, emotion code, all kinds of modalities for that. And I wanted to touch on it because I want to make sure we're all aware that that's a real thing. Like the emotional pain connection to physical pain is a real medical thing. It's not just a perceived, this person says their stomach hurts every time they walk in a room because it makes them sick to their stomach. Their stomach really does feel sick because there is an actual physical connection to the emotion they feel when they go into that space, for example. So those are kind of the three types of pain, and inflammation accompanies pain. So if you're like, great, I have this kind of pain, well, guess what? You probably have some inflammatory markers, some inflammation that's gone untreated in your body. You probably have some stuff going on that you're not super aware of, right? Because again, if it's chronic, it's probably covered up. Are y'all like, this is super fun? Raise your hand. You can use a little raise your hand thing if you're like, this is super fun. If you don't think it's super fun, I'm sorry, but I hate to tell you, we all need to learn more. I mean, as much as we can about pain and how to deal with it. So let's talk specifically about people who have these conditions, inflammatory markers. What do they do to support it? I will go through these really briefly. I don't want to take up too much time, but I want to make sure we're overall aware of what we should be doing to prevent pain and inflammation in our bodies as a really generic protocol. Like a generic, you're on here and you're like, I think I have some inflammation. Sometimes even if it's like, I can see my knee is swollen sometimes after a long walk, like you probably have some more inflammation somewhere else. Or if you have extreme bloating, like whatever it is. And again, we'll talk specifically in a little while. But Agilase is something I do want to point out to you. It supports the body's natural response to acute inflammation. And the reason this is important and the reason I'm noting that it's acute inflammation is I have a really good friend on our team that has always said to me, well, I treat Agilase like it's a Tylenol, and it's always made me laugh. But when I was reading about it today, I've never treated it that way. I take it every single day because I have chronic and acute pain that kind of interchange. I never thought of it that way, but it was designed to treat acute pain, which is quick onset, don't know the root cause. And that's why it's so important with your dosage that my dosage and Terry's dosage of Agilase might actually be different. And that is because it was designed to combat acute pain. Did anybody else like hear that differently when I said it right now? Because I've known about Agilase, I've used it for years, but just thinking of it that way literally hit me different. It hit me different. So joint flexibility and healthy cartilage are its long-term effects. So acute inflammation, long-term joint flexibility, healthy cartilage, and that's because the frankincense resin powder, calcium, and there's wintergreen, copaiba, clove, northern lights, black spruce, all in it. Just hit these quickly, and I want to just read them. I'm not going to talk about every single one. Ningxia red, BLM, golden turmeric. Tune in next week. We'll have more on Ningxia red and golden turmeric specifically. But if you want to get information down, you better get those in your arsenal. Sulfur zyme, MSM. Does anyone ever realize that MSM is what naturally was made, I believe by God, naturally occurring on earth, is what is found in breast milk specifically. It actually helps equalize water pressure in cells so that the balance in our bodies is it's less likely to be inflammatory because our cells are the correct pressure as far as, think about this, things swelling, bloating, feeling off. If our pressure is different in every cell in our body, or if all of it is low or all of it's high, we're going to feel like crap because we're made of cells. So this helps fight the inflammatory response in our bodies. So MSM is really, really important. If you're not taking sulfurzyme, I can assure you it's one that you want to have in your arsenal. It is very effective agent at alleviating pain. That's right from Gary Young, our founder. He specifically designed sulfurzyme. Ladies, I'm sorry, it's not for your hair, skin, and nails. He designed it for pain and to reduce the body's natural inflammatory response to outside invaders like allergens or inside invaders like autoimmune things. And one of the most effective oils for combating pain is helichrysum. So if you don't know about this list, I'm going to give it to you in the order from most effective to least effective, according to, I mean, there's lots of things I could say according to our amazing founder, but this is just one of them that's a list. There's specific recipes, more things we can go into depending on your interest and questions. But helichrysum, peppermint, both variety of frankincense or frankincenses, sounds weird, eucalyptus blue, vetiver, dorado azul, copaiba, cypress, palo santo, valerian, Idaho grand fir. So I find it super interesting, and hopefully you do too, that these are different oils out. Well, there's two of them that are the same, but these are oils that are different than the oils found in our raindrop technique collection, which is also great for inflammation and pain. And they're also oils that are different from the three that we basically tell people to use in what we would call our first recipe for the night. And that's an empty vegetable capsule with three of our favorite oils in it. Anybody want to name them with me? The first one is Idaho grand fir. The next one is what? Nobody's naming. Unmute yourself. Come on. It's fine. What's oil number 2? Nobody knows? I'm not going to tell y'all. I thought we'd have a party. I thought all of y'all would be. Come on.
What did you ask?
I was thinking the same thing.
Frankincense?
No, what was the question?
What's in the little capsule we use for pain? Has 3 oils in it.
Oh,
Is it
copaiba. Copaiba.
Idaho grand fir.
Or copaiba and frankincense.
Yeah.
Is that what you take all the time? I thought Luann was going to share for a second. I was like, what?
He can push you.
I take it off and on.
Yeah.
I actually gave that, someone purchased, I did a little blend of those 3 for them, and that's how I found out that my dropper top leaked and they lost all of it. But they did say those, I think they took 4 or 5 days, and they did notice a difference.
So I want you to think about that. Those oils I just shared with you, if you have a desk reference, the protocol for most of them is ingesting. And it's like a really simple ingestion protocol. It's like dump them in your mouth, put them in honey and eat them. And I find that super interesting because that's not most of our go-tos. When we have pain, we usually put the oil on the place that we have pain. Isn't that funny? Where it kind of works, but our absorption rate is only like 70% through our skin. It's like 100% sublingually. And then depending on where the pain is, if we want to use a capsule or not. So just really interesting things. And I wanted to encourage you and kind of open. I know it seemed random, but I wanted to open tonight with your minds open for you to think in a new way about someone in your life, including yourself, that might be in an inflammatory response state or be in pain. And then secondly, I want you to think about how to use these things differently. I don't want to actually tell you what to do. I want to tell you the tools you have and you to figure out what works. the best. And that might sound, you're like, that was lame, Ashley. But listen, if you're in a lot of pain, often or not so often, and it's acute, you want to just be able to grab stuff and use it instinctively and not feel like you have to be prepared with these specific oils and these specific recipes that this roll on you made just in case. You don't. Grab any of the oils I just said, dump them in your freaking mouth, guys, and then dump them somewhere on your body. That's basically how I want to cut off my first talking portion for this oily underground. And yeah, I can share the list. I'm not going to share all my notes because I'm not organized like that and they wouldn't make sense to you. They say things like explain the body's pain response, but I don't write that down. So you would just have a note that said explain the body's pain response. Sorry.
So I have a quick question. Do you think it makes a difference if you just drop those oils on your tongue versus taking a capsule? Because I'll be totally honest, I do that all the time. Do you think that's okay?
Yeah. So we learned, this is so interesting because I was mind blown when I learned this. I mean, I was with Tracy, we were at winter harvesting, and I don't know specifically if it was Gary or if it was someone else there sharing with us about the problem with capsules is they go through your digestive system, right? So if anything, if you're trying to affect anything above the diaphragm, then like using a capsule doesn't do anything for it. So like if you have a headache and you take a capsule, nothing. If you have brain fog, you take a capsule, nothing. If you have allergies and you take a capsule, nothing. And you might be like, that's not true, but we're not talking supplements. We're talking about capsules of oil. So he really talked a lot about like, if you need to use 12 drops of copaiba because you have a headache, you should put it directly on your tongue or under your tongue or eat it with honey. And it's something that is really hard to get people to do, Chelsea, if they won't do it with one drop. Like if you won't do it with one drop, they're not going to do it when they're a lot of pain with multiple drops. So it's actually two things. It does get to your bloodstream faster. And the second thing is anytime you're affecting anything from here up, you don't want to waste that digestive tract process because it's actually going to be like another 4 hours before it actually digests and reaches your blood, like reaches your cells. I hope that was helpful. Yeah, I don't make a ton of capsules either, except for like for me during allergy season, it really helps me to do both. Like I just have such a hard time. I do everything. I just do all the things. I got the time release capsule down in my stomach. I got the oils directly on my tongue. And I don't mind copaiba. I don't know if anybody else is like me. I actually like copaiba. Dumping it in my mouth is something that I do quite often for pain. And I've gotten I've had a few of my kiddos fine with doing that too, because I did it when they were teething. Yep. Digest is a great one too. I know we're talking about pain tonight, but if you can not do that in capsules and you can just ingest a few drops, you'll find much more effectiveness if it's something like in your esophagus, or if it's a gross taste or nausea.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So you were talking about the main three were the Idaho Grand Fir, copaiba, and frankincense. I first wrote for the in capsule, but you're saying that it's even better to go ahead and just do the sublingual.
Yeah,
For
just
all
depends
three?
on, well, okay, thing is, depends on how many drops you want to do though, right? If you're trying to do like post-surgery protocol and you want to have 8 drops of each, then you probably want to use the bigger size 0 capsules and go ahead and make 24 drops. But if it's like an everyday and you're just putting 2 or 3 of each, it'd be awesome if you could do them in your mouth. So just think of it like logically.
About how often? Like how many times during the day? Is there too much?
I mean, anybody else ever heard a story about ODing on oils for pain? Because I have not, but maybe.
Go ahead, Ashley.
I'm
'cause
new.
You
I'm
know
new.
it's not too much.
Thank you. Okay.
I would see what you're comfortable with. You know, you can always work up a little bit,
Yep.
you know, but I would start with what you're comfortable with. And then if you feel like you need, your body will tell you when it's good. And maybe you can go down 1 or 2 the next day and see if you feel like 1 or 2 more. But like my sweet spot's not gonna be the same as Ashley's or yours. So I would play around with it and maybe just keep a little journal and then pay attention to whatever works for you.
I just have one more question. I'm sorry. I still have a little bit of confusion. I'm sorry. I'm still new to the oils. Can I do the sublingual with either Vitality or the dark label? I can do any of the oils we can just consume, right? It doesn't have to be, does not have to be the Vitality.
That's a fun question though. And maybe everybody on here, we should say it just so we all remember to help educate people in this way. So our oils are the exact same formulation. And that is regardless of the oil. The oil label. The oil label is a legal protection for us as we are in the marketplace, so that we have things that can be labeled as a supplement or a diet, a dietary supplement, and also things that are labeled for cosmetic use and external use. So that is the way that we're able to have our oils do both. We just have different labels on the same oil.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's been so confusing for me. Thank you.
That is, I'm glad you asked though, because it's funny, because I think we all forget that, but like when we did that, it was really confusing. And I still
It
forget
was.
that I still forget that I probably shouldn't take a picture of putting my lemon in my water bottle in a regular label.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Tracy, you want to go ahead and teach us some more awesome things?
Just want to say I am loving how lively this call is tonight. So thank you for all like the participation. We love this. So please keep hopping in here.
Thanks
so
for the
just-
heads up.
Yes, it's okay. So one quick note, Lori, as far as ingesting oils, there's only 2 oils that I know of that Gary has said not to ingest, and that's neroli and jasmine, because technically they're absolutes rather than essential oils. So, but you wouldn't really need to ingest them. I can't really think of a case use to needing, you know what I mean? Kind of like Panaway, right? Panaway, I don't know of a case use of when you'd really want to ingest that. It's more for topical pain, right?
Okay.
So just kind of like putting it out there. Okay, so much great information from Ashley. I have a few things to share as well with a little bit of a different perspective. And I love how she opened with inflammation and your body's response. Here's the thing with us and just sort of my family's experience is that for us, food has been a huge trigger for inflammation. And I'm going to name some things that you probably weren't aware that might be causing inflammation that might be in your diet, because you know what? You probably don't even know it's in the foods that you're eating. I had to become like a crazy label reader, not just like for the products I use like shampoo and toothpaste, but really I started because of the food. So first of all, sugar, like refined sugar, and especially high fructose corn syrup, that it can cause major inflammation in the body. Artificial trans fats. So what I'm talking about here is like your margarine, your Crisco, your soybean oil, basically those refined seed oils, sunflower oil. Like think about like lots of fast food, or like when we go out to eat, most of the oils that they're using to fry food, cook food, it's those refined oils. If you eliminated those quote unquote vegetable oils, seed oils, I'm telling you, that would probably be like a huge portion, right? That you could knock off, because that's a huge inflammation trigger right there. Oils like coconut, avocado, tell me some of your other favorites. I use bacon lard, like those natural oils, those are great to cook with. Avocado is probably my go-to for everything. But what I'm talking about is like those trans fats, the trans fats, as well as like the refined seed oils and quote unquote vegetable oils. They sound vegetable like, but I'm just going to tell you, canola doesn't grow on a tree. Canola, right, is like a byproduct, just like cottonseed oil, like, oh, that sounds good, but it's not. It's actually a byproduct of like the cotton process. And they're like, let's just put this in food and make some extra money off this. Refined carbs. And what I'm talking about, this is like your white flour, where they remove all the fiber, that can cause inflammation. Excessive alcohol. I know we're just starting the new year, right? Maybe we had too much fun over the holiday, but that can do it. Processed meat and nitrates in particular, sodium nitrates. That's a really big one. That's one where I know many people who get headaches if they have sodium nitrates. MSG. You might be thinking, well, I don't consume MSG. Oh, let me tell you, you're probably consuming. I'm willing to bet every single one of you on this call has MSG in your pantry, even if you think you don't. Do you know why? Because the food industry is so clever, just like all the different products, right? Like household cleaners and makeup and skincare products. They're so clever in how they name things, right? You would never know. Do you know why? They changed the name. They don't call it MSG anymore. You know what it is? Yeast extract, hydrolyzed soy protein. I can share a graphic a little bit later. It's like it has 60 different names. I guarantee when you see anything like that looks like yeast extract, right? Let me tell you, like seasonings, dressings. If you like potato chips, right? Those flavored potato chips likely has yeast extract big trigger for people. MSG can be a really big trigger. I am part Chinese. I love my Asian food. Everything has MSG. Every time I go to the Asian market, I'm super depressed. Like probably 85% of the foods I can't eat, not because of gluten, because of MSG. If it doesn't have gluten, it's got MSG. If it's got MSG, then it doesn't have the gluten. It's like either way, I can't win. So that's why I have to make my own food. Gluten and dairy, right? Not necessarily bad, but can be bad for some people. And here's the interesting thing is it might be that gluten and dairy may only be bad for you at certain points. So for instance, my husband has a whole onslaught of autoimmune issues. He has rheumatoid arthritis. He has spondylitis, ankylosing spondylitis, which is kind of like the fusing of your bones in your lower back. He had all kinds of different things. He has he's borderline celiac, and for a while, like he couldn't do dairy. He couldn't do a lot of different things, but he can tolerate dairy now. So you have to sort of read your body and kind of figure out, maybe keep a food diary and see what's kind of triggering you. But gluten and dairy aren't necessarily bad for you all the time. It just, you have to listen to your body. One more thing, okay? Artificial sugars, aspartame. Oh my gosh, please, if you have that, get rid of it right away. I know I used to do it way back in the day. I remember this is so much better than sugar, right? No calories. It's low. It's so much better for me than just having regular sugar. Yeah, I've done it all. So if you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to eat? Stick with real foods as much as possible, but also know that it might just be that certain foods are triggering you for a short period of time. Now, some other foods that might trigger you, these are whole foods, you guys, but for a short period, they might be giving triggers to you. And I actually know some people who just can't do them anymore. Nightshades. Do you guys know what nightshades are? So like white potatoes, eggplant, tomato, peppers, chili peppers, right? Like in the sort of spices, paprika, cayenne pepper. Yep. For some people, I would say if you already have an autoimmune issue, like maybe you have gluten issues, you might have nightshade issues too. So just kind of putting that out there. Those are very healthy foods, but for some people, they can be a trigger. The other thing, let's see here, I have a whole onslaught of things. So with foods, it's one of those things where it's not going to be a one size fits all for anybody. And here's the other thing. It could be different foods at different seasons of your life could be triggers for you. You could have eaten, right, a certain food for 40 years of your life, and only now it's causing issues, right? And you might be, well, I've never been allergic. I've never had an issue, just whatever. Your body's constantly changing, right? It could have been, and I like to use this analogy of like a pot of boiling water, something just like it's been boiling right at the rim. Something happened. It might have been something totally unrelated to a food that you ate, right? Something triggers, and then the pot starts to boil over and you can't do those, that you can't eat those certain foods anymore. So my recommendation is keeping a food diary, keeping a diary of how you feel. If you feel like, are you bloated? So here's another thing. Bloating is a huge sign of inflammation, if you didn't know this. It's one of the earlier signs, right? Sometimes we don't always feel it, like in our joints. We don't feel the pain just yet. If you feel like, oh, I just ate that food. I didn't eat a lot of it, but I just ate it. Just being aware of your body, right? Bloating is an early sign of inflammation. You keep eating the thing or consuming the thing, right? Drinking the thing that is causing the inflammation, causing the bloating. It could be a trigger point eventually, right, where the pot boils over. So pay attention to certain things. I've noticed as I get older, right, I can feel it like even in my joints. I feel like I'm totally dating myself now, but I was chopping vegetables the other day and I'm like, oh, I feel something. I can feel it in there. What did I eat today? That's immediately where my brain goes. What did I eat today? What did I do today? Did I get any movement? This is the other thing. And Ashley, I feel like is our fitness guru. By the way, we do have a call in a couple of weeks about fitness. So make sure you come to that. But movement's going to be really huge for those of you who have pain and inflammation, like being in one spot. Can I just tell you, my back issues were triggered because guess what? For most of my adult life, I've had an office job, right? A desk job where I'm sitting at the computer all the time. And then boom, something just happened. I did something completely unrelated to, in fact, I was doing something good. I was doing Pilates. I was working out, threw my back out, and that was it. From then on, everything changed. Threw my back out a couple of times after that. And again, I was doing the thing that I thought I should be doing, exercising, right? But all those years of compounding, of sitting at the desk and not getting as much movement, right, finally caught up with me. So it's one of those things whenever we think, but I've been doing it forever and it never bothered me before. You know, our bodies are amazing. They can take a lot, but at some point, right, I want you to, at some point, our bodies are just going to say enough is enough. And something that I just want to put out there, I think our bodies are amazing. They are wired to want to heal and to want to function, right? And I think what's really amazing is our bodies are talking to us all the time, but maybe we just haven't been taught to be aware of what's going on. So again, I'm going to go back to that bloating example. Now I have trained myself where I can kind of sense I'm a little bit bloated. My body doesn't like that. I shouldn't eat that anymore, right? And so then I'll start to train myself to not do that thing, right? Or if some position that I'm sitting in starts triggering my back, I'm paying attention, right? My body's talking to me. I think sometimes with pain and inflammation, we go, why is this happening to me, right? It's happening to me rather than it's happening for me, right? And it's one of those things where I feel like we have to, it's sort of a mind-body connection of our bodies are talking to us and it wants to be better. So let's listen. So you guys being on this call is huge to hear, right? Everything that we need to do. Okay, so Ashley had mentioned a couple of things that we need to do. And as far as supplements, there's a couple more that I just want to add in here. Frankincense, you guys, if you've got any kind of pain or inflammation, frankincense should just be part of your daily regimen. Like add it to your Ningxia Red every single day and be taking it. It is freaking amazing. There have been studies that show that not only is frankincense a natural anti-inflammatory, it actually has pain relieving properties. Excellent for people, especially with autoimmune issues. Golden turmeric or turmeric in general, but our golden turmeric product is off the hook. Why do you guys think we're doing the golden challenge this month, right? Because we know pain, inflammation, so many people are dealing with it, but of course it's just good for overall health. But curcumin, which is like the active compound that's in turmeric, has been used for a very long time. There's a ton of studies that you guys can go research where it can help with joint pain, swelling, helps with long-term pain, especially with people with either osteoarthritis or with rheumatoid arthritis. Definitely helps with the inflammation. Something that may surprise you that helps with inflammation, that if you're not taking this every day, it's something that you definitely need to look at, is a fish oil supplement. Omega-3s are phenomenal for anti-inflammation. Again, tons of studies, but in particular for joint tenderness, stiffness, especially with patients who have rheumatoid arthritis. Here's another one that's kind of surprising that you may not have in your daily regimen that you should really consider adding. Ginger. Who uses ginger? I would love to hear this as part of your daily regimen. Ginger has anti-inflammatory properties similar to ibuprofen. Amazing at reducing inflammation reactions in rheumatoid arthritis. You can take it every day. So we've got ginger vitality, add that to your Ningxia Red. Ningxia Red is also fantastic. I know Ashley already talked about that. A couple more things to add in there. Spirulina. We have a multi-greens, which is a green supplement. Spirulina is one of the greens that are in that. Spirulina is a superfood. I mean, we should be taking this anyway, but spirulina is phenomenal for anti-inflammation. In particular, for especially when you've got sleep issues because of inflammation or pain. One more, I know Ashley's already talked about MSM, the Unwind supplement, right? We've got magnesium, but you know what else is in that Unwind supplement, which is for kids, but I actually take it. I actually took it right before this call. It also has an ingredient, a supplement called 5-HTP, amazing for the body, helps with inflammation. Let's see what else here. CoQ10. Our Omega Dry supplement, which has the fish oil in it, is fantastic, has CoQ10 in it, but CoQ10 also helps with inflammation. Okay, what else can I share with you? Let's see. Some other oils that you may not know that help with inflammation. Did you know that the pine oils, like all the conifer trees. Who's coming with me to winter harvest? You guys, come on. We're going to be surrounded by conifer trees. I'm so excited. Did you know that all of the pine trees, the needles, those oils actually act like a cortisol, like have cortisol like an effectiveness on your body. So whenever I feel like, oh my gosh, my back is getting triggered, I do pine, Idaho blue spruce, balsam fir, whatever I have on hand, and I put it directly on the spot. It helps so much. That's one of my favorite things to use, or any of the pine oils. But rosemary, clove, and cinnamon are also fantastic for inflammation. One more thing I'll add in here is for sciatica, which I know is a bit more acute, but for anybody who deals with it like on a chronic, here's what I have found, and I'll type it in the comments as well. Idaho blue spruce, copaiba, rosemary, clove, basil, thyme. Those are the 6 oils I use. I put it in a dropper, or you can just like put it in your hand. I can't tell you how many drops I use. I just kind of go, I eyeball it and just put it in there. Little bit of carrier oil, boom, put it right on the spot, all the way down the leg. I'm telling you, I don't know if you've ever heard the story, but my husband is an avid surfer, had sciatica pain. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I literally got my book. Do you guys have this? The desk reference? I got my book. I opened it up to the sciatica page. That's exactly what I did. This is how we come up with a lot of our protocols, you guys. This is from Gary Young. He came up with all of these in here. Looked up sciatica, made that formula, put it on his back. I kid you not. He was like intense pain laying down on the couch. After 20 minutes, he's like, oh my gosh, what did you put on me, woman? And I'm like, it's my oils. It's my oils. And he got up, went surfing, and had so much fun. So sciatica, amazing. Okay, that's all I have for now. Who else has something to share?
Hey, Tracy.
Yes.
So I have a question. How much is too much? Because I take the master formula. I take 6 BLM. I take 3 Agiles. I do the golden turmeric because I have a lot of inflammation. I just had a hysterectomy, a full hysterectomy, and I'm only like 38. And so now the surgery was months ago, but the doctors, and I tell my doctor, hey, I'm in pain. And she's just like, well, I think it's just part of, having a hysterectomy. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? She wanted to put me on like Mobic, and I'm like, I'm not taking that crap. So I started with all of the supplements, but sometimes I'm not sure, like I feel like I need to take more to stay on top of it, but I'm not sure how much is too much, because I'm like, I don't want to poison myself by taking too many supplements, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think we can all relate to that, right? Like how much is too much? So here's what I'll say is Master Formula is like your multivitamin, right? So you would just take that no matter what. Just like Ningxia Red is kind of like your multivitamin, right? Like you take the 2 of them all the time. And
Right.
then you supplement based on what is sort of missing or what your body needs. So like sulfurzyme, golden turmeric, those are amazing things that have specific purposes, right? Then we have enzymes, for instance, that are great for digestion, but that also helps with inflammation. So I'll be honest, I take all the things. I mean, I'm taking more or less the recommended use. I'm not taking like 5, master formulas. I take 1 packet of master formula. The ones that I tend to take more often or when I have more acute needs, if that makes sense. So if I'm having a flare up, then I might take extra Agiles and extra BLM, but like I'm taking those on the daily. So I think as long as you're sort of following, right, what the recommended use is, and you've got the desk reference here.
Yeah.
I think there are many of us here who deal with pain and inflammation. I guarantee if you saw Ashley's daily supplements, I don't know, Ashley, you might need to tell us how many you're taking, like 30 a day, right? It just depends. It just depends on what your needs are. And I think you need to listen to your body, what feels right for you.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to poison myself because right now I'm up to like 10 pills a day. and I'm like, okay, do I need to pull off some but I feel completely fine. But like, there's like today, I'm like, I need more BLM, but I've already taken like 6 capsules and the recommended dose is like 3. And so
Right.
I'm like, uh-oh, I need to probably not take any more, but then I end up suffering a little bit.
I would make sure you're doing agile. Like I would, when it's acute pain, I would do Agiles is always what I've heard from. I wish Danette was on here to talk about dosage and that because you're wanting to get a therapeutic dosage.
Yes.
So when I need a therapeutic dosage, when it's acute pain, so it's not like my crooked back, when it's like something I did running or I'm sore, I space things out. So I'll do like 6 sulfurzyme and 2 Agiles. And then like in the middle of the day, do 6 sulfurzyme, a couple Agiles. And then later in the evening, I'll do like 6, 10 sulfurzyme, couple Agiles,
Okay.
as much Copaiba as I can put in my mouth, and then a capsule of Copaiba too. So I think this is different. I want everybody to hear me say this. I think it's really different when we're talking about things for inflammation that we know are actually either going to be ground up nutritional components of herbs and plants and oils versus us talking about water soluble and fat soluble vitamins, like in taking extra master formula. And what I mean by that is I did learn, I just got a full panel of blood work done. I would recommend everyone to do that. I had some of my levels were really high, not like bad high, were high because I do supplement. Like I do take a lot of supplements and it made sense. But then some of my levels were low and I take the normal dosage, which means like for me, I'm going to take 4 super D a day. That's a lot. Like that's actually a lot. And for all of the things I take where I just talked about taking a lot of them, it like doesn't show up in my blood work because it's not anything that's going to show up as toxic, or it's actually not going to show up as a deficiency either. Because unless it was like an inflammatory test, does that make sense? I don't know if like before and after that wouldn't necessarily show. That was a lot of rambling. I'm sorry, but like people who have severe allergies, seasonal allergies, it's really hard to detect in any kind of blood work, just like it would be if it's inflammatory responses to acute pain triggers. It would be
Right.
hard to know that. So it wouldn't be liver overload. And I'm not a doctor. I would ask your doctor, but I meant from what I've learned, that wouldn't be an overload on your liver unless it was too much of fat soluble vitamins.
Yeah. So my doctors, I'm military. So unfortunately, my doctors
They
are
don't care.
military and they're like, well, take Motrin, take Mobic, take gabapentin, take this. And so they don't really care to hear about my supplements. But they did a panel and my vitamin D was like negative. And so I was taking the vitamin D for Young Living and she was like, you can't take that. It's not enough. You need 50,000 milligrams. I was like, okay. So it's just kind of hard trying to figure out, a happy medium because I know before I had my hysterectomy, I didn't have any of this pain. And like now I have all this pain and all they can say, oh, we think you have fibromyalgia. Oh, it's linked to the hysterectomy. And I'm like, well, I wasn't hurting or anything before. And I'm at 20 years of military service. So I'm like, now I'm gonna have to deal with this for the rest of my life. And so I just don't want to overdose, but I want to make sure I can take all the doses that I need to just kind of just help fix myself, if that makes sense, because military doctors don't care about us, unfortunately.
I would go see a functional medicine person and bring them all your bag of stuff you take.
Okay, a functional medicine doctor. Okay.
I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but I think it's really hard for all of us. Like maybe I'll just raise my hand and say, I don't always know about all the drugs. So I have a hard time, recommending things for people to get off of. That's not usually something I like to do.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank
I guess
you.
sorry, some people are saying sorry. So I'm used to in the Hampton Roads area, we only have like one of those, and we have like 3 functional medicine doctors. We have like 4 people who practice any sort of natural medicine. So if you're in an area where people actually do that, you probably have access to a naturopath, you probably have access to some more holistically minded practitioners. That's awesome. I just didn't. I have one I use. Other than that, it's not a wide access, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I used to work in healthcare, you guys, like for a hospital system. And when Trevor was having his autoimmune issues, the only solution they offered was medication, pain medication, or get fusion surgery, right? Because he had back issues. Those were his only 2 options. So it's not just, within the military, it's healthcare in general. Unfortunately, they don't know what to do with autoimmune. They are not trained. They don't really know what to do with it. So I 1000% agree with Ashley is, finding a functional medicine doctor. The thing with the functional medicine doctor is they want to get to the root cause. Like your first appointment is typically like an hour and a half. Can you imagine being at the doctor for an hour and a half? You might be in the waiting room for an hour and a half. You're not actually talking to a doctor for an hour and a half. So that's what they do is they want to get to the root cause of what's happening. They even want to know emotions, trauma, like emotional trauma that's happened to you. They want to know supplements, what you're eating. I mean, it was really very night and day. And it's very tough because most functional medicine doctors that I know are cash pay, which I know can be very difficult, but it's one of those things, right, where it's the, needing to kind of figure out where are you sort of spending the money. I mean, I'm not going to lecture anybody on that, but for us, I mean, this was all before Young Living. I was like, I don't know, we're going to afford this, but we got to do it because we were really at a crossroads. Like it was get fusion surgery or we need to find another solution. So just kind of putting it out there that I 100% agree with that.
Is that what it's
Crystal-
actually called, as a functional medicine doctor?
Yep, that's exactly it. And I'll see if I can go find a link for you to go look it up to find somebody in your area, but you could find functional medicine doctor near me and
Okay.
like Google it, right?
If you can't look it up that way, and I'm sorry if this is not what you mean, y'all are like, it sounds bad, but if you look up like marijuana doctor, they probably are the same person. And I'm saying that because most people in state where you can get medical marijuana cards, they literally like, if I Google the three doctors I know around here, when I Google them, that's what comes up, are these like searches for people who do medical marijuana cards. So,
Crystal, the other thing for me is like I had chronic pain and now it's mostly whatever. That's not the point. I had chronic pain for a long time, for several years. And one of the things that I noticed and my chiro noticed is that I was getting, when I'm in pain, I get tense all over. So like, even though the pain was originated in my neck, it spread through my shoulders and down my back and up into my head and all that because I'm tense and tense and tense. So also, if you can figure out a way to relax, diffuse your oils, put some lavender and some Epsom salt, take a bath, calm your muscles down more, it might help in the area where you got the hysterectomy. Like eventually finding a routine for being emotionally calm. Because I know for me, the pain is emotionally very hard. And then I tense up. And so calming physically all over and resting kind of that way, also with emotional pain and not letting it get to that, then I was able to heal a lot faster. Because it sort of all just trickled, me being tense because of my pain trickled into so many other areas. And I hope that that makes sense, but that was really helpful to me to start an all over. So like Epsom salt bath with lavender, lots of emotional support oils. And I really like Mega Cow because it has magnesium, and that really kind of helps me sleep better and calm better when I'm not kind of crunching up, and it makes it a lot more pain.
I have something that I can add to this possibly, and I've just done a lot of research. Can y'all hear me? Because I keep saying, it keeps showing I have internet, like unstable internet. Okay. So something I've been learning a lot lately is about minerals, and oh, my laptop's about to die, and how important that is. So I really like, one of the best things you can do is literally like grab a bottle of mineral essence. It doesn't taste the best, so if you don't want to put it in your Ningxia, or you don't want to put it in capsules and take it literally, you can just put it in your bath water, like put it in your Epsom salts. I put a couple droppers full and put it in my bath water. And something that I've learned about minerals is that if your magnesium and your copper and your selenium are all off, right now, a lot of us are supplementing with zinc a lot. If we feel the sniffles, we're all taking the zinc, right? That can actually throw our copper levels off. There's so many things about minerals that are so important. When you're under stress, your magnesium tanks, and then it's gonna increase your inflammation in your body. It's gonna make you feel bad. And actually, my functional medicine doctor doesn't recommend recommend supplementing things like vitamin D and like vitamin E and things like that, because he says once you get your minerals balanced, then that vitamin D level will be good. That's a whole like another can of worms. I'm not saying get off your vitamin D if your doctor has you on it, or if you're taking it, I'm not saying stop, but something to look into is if you have your minerals well balanced, you won't have to supplement near as much as what you are now possibly. So a big thing is minerals. So put them in your bath water, find ways like Chelsea said, like the Mega Cow, getting magnesium that way. And there's a million different types of magnesium. So you'll just have to kind of do research to figure out what is best for you. But I was just diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and my doctor wants me on magnesium malate, which is really good. And so you can find all the supplements that have that in there and figure out how to add that into your diet, into your supplement routine, and that can really help too. But mineral essence is so good. Anytime I take a bath, I just keep it by my bathtub, sprinkle it in my bath, and I feel so good after that. So.
Is that an oil or a supplement? The mineral essence?
Say
Is
that again?
the mineral essence an oil or a supplement?
It's a supplement. It's in a liquid bottle though. It's like a glass bottle, and it's like a squeeze dropper bottle. And I think the back says to take like 4 dropper fulls. Oh yeah, look, Luann has it. She's holding it up right there. So it's a pretty big bottle of.
Okay. I have one more. I'm sorry. I have yet another question. I have an autoimmune disease as well. I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia a couple of years, well, actually about 15 years ago. I have the chronic fatigue, chronic migraines. I have a lot of the degenerating discs. I've had spine surgery. I refused to let them put metal on my body, so I just had them, kind of shave off the bulging discs. So I've actually been in pain management for about 14 years. Went through the whole route of them piling on the muscle relaxers and the pain meds, and to the point where I just kind of like freaked out one day and decided no more, cold turkeyed it all, went through the withdrawals, and then I was able to find the oils and the supplements, and I'm doing that now. But a lot of the symptoms and the things I've been diagnosed with, I found in the desk reference. Gary Young, that's his name, right? Gary, Mr. Young. He recommends several times the Master Cleanse. Now, not just the Master Cleanse supplements, but like a whole Master Cleanse. So now it's like the big rage on YouTube as far as it's just like what, cayenne pepper, honey, and the ginger or something. I can't remember what it is. And he actually referenced a book. I thought maybe he wrote a book. I can't find a book. I tried to Google, Young Living's Master Cleanse. I would like to try it and do it. Just to, I have like gut issues and stomach issues, and been through the hysterectomy, all that stuff. My hormones are crazy right now. I just turned 49, hot flashes and wanting to kill everybody all the time. So I really want to know about the Master Cleanse as far as how this will help with the inflammation as well, because he does suggest it. Can anybody steer me anywhere to find where the references are as far as the Young Living way of doing the actual true Master Cleanse and not just with the supplement? Anyone?
Has anyone, I don't know if anyone in here has actually done it. I know Tracy has tried it.
I have.
Perfect. So
That video that it was a while ago though. That video I just sent, I have not watched it in a long time. I'm pretty sure it's the right one. I will double check in a little bit, but it's Jim
The
Bob
one on
Patterson.
Facebook? The Facebook
It's a
one?
link. It's a video of him explaining, and I think it's right. I will
All
double
right.
check when I can't watch it because we're on the call, but
I'll
it's a
take a picture.
video of him. He's a doctor explaining it and explaining the side effects, how it works and why it works. you should be able to copy the link and just click it. But there's another really good video, and it's just packed with testimonials of the cleanse. It's kind of long, but I can put that somewhere helpful too.
Thank you. Because I really would like to do that, just like do the whole reset as far as like with all the symptoms and things that I'm dealing with. I thought that would be like a really good way to just start there. But like I said, I'm just kind of struggling finding the information on it as it pertains to Young Living.
Absolutely. If you're looking for details, I really like Dr. Jim Bob Haggerton. He has a very good arsenal of videos for the public that are like the science behind why, and that's my jam.
Jim Bob Patterson,
Haggerton,
Haggerton. Haggerton. And it's Jim Bob.
Yes. I was going to add one more thing, Lori. We'll put it in the chat as well, Jim Bob Haggerton. So for those of you with autoimmune issues, a lot of times, I didn't mention this earlier, but a lot of times Candida and autoimmune often go hand in hand, and that can just cause that sort of gut imbalance. I can't speak to Master Cleanse because I've attempted and totally failed. I think I'm a person that just needs to physically eat food, but my husband has done a Candida cleanse. In fact, that's what his doctor told him to do when he first went gluten-free. Like, he was just like off the charts, like had so many health issues. He was in so much pain. It was like sugar and yeast overgrowth and all kinds of crazy things. So he did a cleanse, and in a nutshell, it's like broth, like veggie broth, basically for like a week. You can go look it up online. It's not specific to Young Living. And then after that, he would slowly introduce foods, but nothing that had sugar, yeast, or nightshades in it. I mean, it was basically like meat on the bone and certain vegetables. And he did that for probably 6 months, and then slowly reintroduced foods back in. You know, though, it's so something that you could look up is autoimmune protocol. There's an autoimmune protocol diet that can kind of take you through that. It 100% transformed him. Like, totally switched off a lot of things. And he can now tolerate some foods that he wasn't able to in the very beginning. But I would look at, I think, for anybody who's really interested in doing some kind of a cleanse, I don't know if it's Master Cleanse for you, but Candida might be an issue. So I would totally look that up too.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much.
Of course. So many of us have been down this road, so we get it. Okay, you guys, we have about 1 more minute. So wanted to make sure that we get through everything. Just wanted to say thank you so much for being with us tonight. Isn't this awesome? Don't you guys love this? Tuesday calls every Tuesday at 8:30. We're going to continue on this. So just mark it on your calendar every Tuesday. And next week, we're going to be talking about fitness, right? We're going to be doing weight loss and fitness, oils for weight loss and fitness. And in just a minute, we're going to be doing a business call. So for any of you, right, who have thought, you know what, I think I might want to share the oils, I might want to do the business, or maybe you have done the business in the past, please stay on because we would love to talk to you about goal setting and just kind of getting that mindset. Oh, next week is golden turmeric. Thank you so much, Ashley. Next week is golden turmeric, which is perfect. You guys know that our golden challenge is starting, right, on January 10th. If you have not already ordered your golden turmeric, please make sure you do that. Get it sent to your house. We're doing a whole challenge from January 10th to the 31st on golden turmeric and Ningxia Red. We'll have lots of great content to share with you, but next Tuesday will be a call all about that. So if you've got friends and family, maybe who have pain and inflammation, have them come join that call. That's going to be open to anybody, not just our team. It'll be a really great class that we'll be teaching on the basics of that, but you'll learn a ton. So that's next week, but stay tuned. Okay. Want to learn more about goal setting? We're going to do that for the next 30 minutes. We're going to have a business call. We would love to have you hang out. Even if you're curious and you've not done the business yet or haven't shared yet, we would love to have you hang out with us and learn more about it. So we're going to just shift gears just a little bit. And we're going to open with our goal setting and stats to track. This is going to be a really fun, lively class. Ashley, I might turn this back over to you to get us started with goal setting.
Awesome. So guys, what we are going to promise you is this will be 30 minutes or less, and we will at least have you started on this process. This is probably a 3-hour topic, but we want to get you in the mindset. First of all, January 1st isn't the time that you start living your dream life for the year. That's like it's not true. And what I mean by that is it's okay if tonight you get introduced to the topic of goal setting for your business or goal setting for whatever, vocation you have right now, or for your family, or whatever it looks like for your marriage, for friendships. But here's the thing. You can start tomorrow on the goal. You can start Monday on the goal. You can set goals out and make them quarterly. I want you, just like we talked in our education call tonight, for you to kind of figure it out for yourself, what works the best. That is what we want you to do tonight. We're going to talk a little bit. This isn't going to be a lengthy dreaming process or visioning and then narrowing down to goals. We're not going to do it just that way. We're going to talk about goal setting and give you a template that Tracy actually made. I was like, someone please duplicate this. It looks awesome. Tracy made it for us. And I'm going to encourage you to print that out and show us and gather and dwell. I'm going to put up a thread, and I want you to show us your completed paper by Friday at the latest. So at least we all have the same framework, and I will show you that in just a minute. But I wanted to get us in the same mindset that we are going to talk about goals for our business, and our goals can fall into a couple different categories, but the two that are easiest for me, when I look at it, it's goal that's a BHAG, which is a big, hairy, audacious goal. And that for me, literally could be if I'm saying, I hit ranks really fast the first year, second year, why not this year double rank up? Okay. And this is funny because I'm like saying this and I don't believe it, but maybe maybe that's mindset, guys. But if I said I'm going to hit Royal Crown Diamond this year, that would be a BHAG. That would be a goal that I don't really have a plan, don't have a structure just yet. But if I can believe it will happen, then building my belief every day will be what pulls me towards that goal. So that's one type of goal. That's the most fun type of goal. If you're not someone who is a grounded, organized type 1, type 5 on the Enneagram, you probably don't love that. But the rest of us love those goals because they just sound amazing, right? Like I want to travel to every continent with my children by the time they're 18. Like that sounds exciting. It doesn't make me anxious. It makes me excited. And then the other type of goals are goals that we're going to look at and that we're going to have benchmarks and that we are guaranteeing that we will meet them based on the output of our energy to get there. And that would be something that's measurable. That would be more of the traditional SMART goal setting that you've probably all heard about in a corporate setting or in kind of a traditional training. But what's really important is that these aren't the only two types of goals, guys. We don't have these big, wild dream goals. And then also these goals that were like, I basically just said I want to enroll 3 people a month. Like, and you know what, sister, you can do that. And we will help you do that. And you will be encouraged and have resources and you will do it. Here's the thing. You do not have doubt in your mind based on your experience or the experience you've seen someone else have, that is not possible for you. You've seen someone else do it. And if she can do it, you can do it. And that is awesome. If she can do it, you can do it. That is a great way to think about it. But I want to invite you to a place that's in the middle of these two, where you're like, it could be scary for me to put down that I'm going to grow 10% a quarter. Like, it doesn't sound that scary, but when you actually write the numbers down and do 10% of what your OGV is so far, and you say, I'm going to grow 10%, quarter 1, 10% of the new growth, right? Quarter 2, 10% of what I have overall, quarter 3, 10% of my new OGV, quarter 4. Like, it's still a SMART goal per se. It still falls into that BHAG because you basically just said you're going to grow 40%. But here's the thing. It will trick your brain. Your mind will do what you tell it to. I usually am saying that your body will do what your mind tells it to, but your mind will hear the words you speak out of your own mouth. Or when you put that paper, you print it off, take a picture of it, do it on your computer, and you share it with all of us, your mind will begin to believe what you show it is possible. Nothing is impossible until you believe it is. So think of all the exciting things you've seen around you in your Young Living career so far. It could be a day, could be 8 years, depends on where you are. You've seen someone do something that they're really freaking excited about. It could be a health testimonial, it could be a rank, it could be an income. You can do the same. You just have to have your mind open to writing it down, saying what the goal is, and then every day your work will correlate to that goal. kind of wanted to lay that down. I do want to give us a couple inspirational quotes before I get you to maybe, you might not say them out loud, but maybe talk about some ideas for goals for 2022. And again, you can start these on January 5th, January 20th, sometime this month when you have yourself ready mentally. It's okay if you miss the first of the year. Nothing is going to happen that will cause you to not meet them. So this is a Les Brown quote. If you set goals and go after them with all the determination you can muster, your gifts will take you places that will amaze you. Jim Rohn, great influencer in the social media space for 60 years of his life, even before most people, I said social media, oh my gosh, network marketing space. He did not have social media friends. Those videos are like 40 years old, 60 years old. So Jim Rohn, if you go to work on your goals will go to work on you. If you go to work on your plan will go to work on you. Whatever good things we build end up building us. So I've seen a lot of talk this year about, instead of setting goals, then working on yourself and working on loving yourself or working on accepting it. Like, I'm gonna be very transparent. That's great. You should do that. But in a business model, if you aim for nothing, you're going to get nothing. Like, we are charged to have focus, to serve people, love people. We have to have a vision and goals to focus on. So please don't take those two things in opposing sides of the visioning space and the goal setting space. They are not. But in your business, I want to encourage you not to hold back, not to shrink down in fear, not to believe that being complacent or being in a maintenance mode or management mode, not to believe that's for you, because it's really not. And what better time than the first month of the year to break free from that? So if you need to separate out some mental health goals, some relational goals, like, that's awesome. You should do that. And I'm going to tell you the 5 categories I do. But I want to encourage you. You can work simultaneously on loving yourself well, having great self-care routines, really nourishing your relationships in your family or with your friends. And you can still be a badass and say you want to grow by a certain number of brand partners or by a certain OGV or rank up in a certain way. Like, those aren't opposing forces. So go ahead and release yourself from the mentality that you're choosing, because you're not choosing. You are a whole person with more than one part of you. And you want to make yourself more whole this year. And by making yourself more whole, you're also going to be more confident in that business part. Like, what you're doing, where you're going, you're going to feel more confident when you allow yourself to be in that space. So I do personally make goals for my spiritual health. They're like, most of them are disciplines. So reading the Bible in a year again this year, that's like a spiritual health goal. I have several others, but I just want to give you ideas. I always have relational goals. So I have specific numbers of dates I want to go on with my husband. I have specific numbers of times a month that I want to meet with my friends. I have a specific number of times a month that I want to have a Bible study at my house. That's how I work. I don't love numbers, but I do want it to be measurable enough that I can check in on myself. With my kids, I have not I want to spend an hour. I have 3 things we're going to do together as a family. So we're reading a chapter of the Bible a day as a family. And maybe that sounds weird, but we didn't do that before because we homeschooled for a while. We're doing the 1,000 hours of outdoors together. We're trying to spend 3 full weeks vacationing together. That doesn't mean away from our house, but I mean actual, we're all here, not one person working, not we're together. So those kinds of goals are still, they're part of me, but they're not in opposition to me also saying, I want to have 100 new brand partners in the first half of the year. And I measure that differently because I'll say that's me saying in my level 1 and 2, either people I enroll or people I enroll. That can, why can't people who are customers now flip to brand partner in the next 6 months and rock it and have somebody else they do the same with? Why not? And if other people can do it, why can't I do it? So once y'all, again, we're not going to spend tons and tons of time on dissecting how this will work, but I want to, we're going to post them in Gather and Dwell. Tracy, unless you can think of another way, I don't really want to, I guess I can post them in the comments. I didn't really want them to feel like